Good afternoon, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. Today, we'll be interviewing Jere'MY Rainkins, a child licensed psychologist, aka clinician. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna learn a little bit more about him. So we're gonna go in a 2 quick minute video of his backstory.
Everyone has a story, a journey, mistakes and skeletons in their closet. If we choose not to share our experiences with people who could most benefit from our testimonies, then we are choosing to be selfish, safe, and secure with our most vulnerable secrets, but robbing others from learning from our journey. I choose to be vulnerable with the world today because of the confidence in who I am, although I'm not very proud of who I was. I am who I am. In the summer of 2009, I was released from prison after serving my full 5-year sentence in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. But when I came home, I had an overwhelming desire to help prevent at-risk youth like I once was from traveling down the same path, the same road that I once traveled. My name is Jere'MY Rainkins, and I want to spread the awareness and remind U.S. citizens of the opportunities in this land of these United States of America. I'm a black man convicted of 2 major felonies, born and raised from the last state to abolish slavery in this country. Despite the oppression and bad choices that I've made to make it that much harder on myself, this country has still provided numerous opportunities for me to find success and a purpose. I've taken advantage of those opportunities. My story is one meant for those who may take for granted the many privileges and opportunities they have. For those looking to migrate to this country for the opportunity to thrive, I understand. I'm here to testify that America is one made for those who want to start over. They can. I testify under disadvantaged positions and unequal playing fields, you can still succeed in this land. You can. In light of all the imperfections and dark pasts this country may have, you can turn your minor setback into a major comeback.
Hey Ross, can you hear me? Yeah,
I can
yeah, I
hear you,
can't
brother,
hear
but I
you, Ross.
cannot see you at all.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so now I can hear you. Okay, so let's get our video here. All right.
Still working on some technical issues
So
out there.
yeah, I may have to switch to a different platform, so but I'm definitely here with you, man. I'm here with you.
Okay, so your video is not popping up, brother.
Yeah, the volume is here, but the video is not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna switch over to a different platform for us.
All right. So while he's getting this thing straight, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get to know Jere'MY just a little bit better. Okay, here goes right here. Add him to the screen here. Let's get this one out of here. All right, there you go, brother. How you doing?
Man, I do apologize, man. I feel good, man.
That's good.
Thank you for the opportunity to come on, but we definitely have some things to talk about with money and mental health. So
if you don't mind, can we start off with your history and how did you actually get into mental health? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
yeah. So I mean, my story. I started off as a kid that was at risk. My parents, they moved me out the hood, but my behavior, it continued to be in the streets. And so I came up at a very advantaged situation with both parents, biological mom and dad in the household, giving me an opportunity to succeed, but I still chose the wrong routes. And so at 17, I caught my first felony. At 19, I caught my second one, which led me to 5 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, the prison system.
Wow.
And then, while I was in there, I taught myself Spanish because I understood the value of being bilingual, and I wanted to put myself that much more marketable when I came home, right? I wanted to position myself. And so there's certain things that I did to kind of increase and improve my quality and who I was while I was in prison. So when I came home, I had opportunity. And I speak about that in the video. I get some backlash about, the United States of America and this country. And, I throw that out there several times, but, it's not me being a patriot. I speak about the opportunity that is available to us, minorities, despite our backgrounds. We can succeed despite this disadvantage. And so that's something that I like to speak to, especially with our troubled youth, our at-risk youth.
Did you come out of prison with your license or did you get it after prison?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Your license to be a clinician, did you get it in prison or when you came out of prison?
Man, I tell you, it was difficult, man. It was difficult. That was probably one of the hardest feat I've ever overcame in my life. I mean, it was difficult, but it was after prison. approximately 10 years after I was released from prison in 2009.
Wow. So the journey has been long for you. Was there any limitations because of your previous background in going to prison because of your felony?
Man, I experience that every day. I'm experiencing that right now with getting into the Harris County juvenile, or not the juvenile, but the adult jails. And so I have to jump through hoops, and you know, who better to serve those people, that community, that population, I should say, than someone who has been there, has been reformed, is now trying to reach back and help. And so, you know, I've had several doors closed in my face, and it just, you have to keep on pushing your desire, your want, your purpose. You have to keep pushing for it. And then, you know, it makes that story that much sweeter once we reach our goals, our destination.
Are there any federal or state laws that's hindering your progress and trying to get into those prisons to help those brothers out?
Yeah, so they have, what is it? Not procedures and protocol, but they have, I guess, a standard. And so if you have these felonies, these type of crimes, these convictions, you're not allowed to access this. And so here in the Harris County, here in Houston, they definitely have that standard. And I definitely, with my convictions on my record, it prohibits me from access to behind the scenes, the jails, working with forensics departments and juvenile probation departments. And so it really hinders me, but it hasn't stopped me.
Now, how does your background hinder your career going forward in obtaining new clients? I mean, the parents of the children, the young boys that you may be involved in their lives, is that a plus or is that a minus? For
me, I believe it's a plus, because you have that added experience and the education and the training to back it up. But then there's always that question of, is he good enough? Is he the right person to kind of help my child and their needs? And so, you know, I always get that hesitation, and parents need that. I guess they just go to my website, they read a little bit more, and then that's when they become a little bit more convinced, this is the guy that can help my son. And so, yeah, it definitely causes a roadblock for parents and people when they hear that I am a convicted felon, and if they dig a little bit deeper, some of the crimes that I was convicted of back when I was 17 and 19 years of age.
Now, we know that you are a licensed professional counselor. You also are a public speaker as well as a published author. Can you tell us the name, title, and what your book is about?
Yeah, it's Minor to Major. Turning minor setbacks into major comebacks. So that is my brand. And I speak to that because, you know, we can say that, you know, 5 years is a huge setback. Like, that is big. And, you know, from age 19 to 24, those fun years of our lives, I was, you know, incarcerated. But, you know, minor to major speaks to not only youth, but also people who are convicted, those people who feel like they are bound by you know, their past mistakes and their convictions.
Exactly.
And so how do we turn those minor setbacks, which could be huge, but how can we mentally, how can we turn those into a minor setback and propel us forward into our future and help us develop our purpose and our mission in life? And so that's kind of what I speak to with these kids. We all have experiences. We are all molded by our past experiences. Right? Some of our mistakes, some maybe have trauma, sexual trauma, but how can we turn those things into minor setbacks and move forward and be successful in our own right? And so that's what the book is about.
If you don't mind revealing, how old are you right now?
36. Yeah, I'm 36.
but you're still, you have that, you know, really young vibe about you that you can actually break into younger children's minds and hearts. And I'm looking at your work, brother. You have a lot going on. There's a lot of things that you're doing in the community. There's a lot of things you're doing in Texas as well. So part of your mission too is bridging the gap between our mental instability in the Black community and also financial wealth.
Yeah, I'm extremely passionate about that. I mean, I learned about you maybe 3 weeks ago, and I started listening and reading, and then just kind of following you. And I said, man, we need to collab. We need to get together. We need to bring awareness, and we need to share this because mental health, dealing with finances, leads to divorce in our homes. That's the fourth or fifth leading cause for divorce in our community. And then it adds that much more stress when you're dealing with that instability with your funds. So it's something I'm extremely passionate about.
See, when I really thought about, when you first wanted to collab with me, and I was like, what a professional counsel want to collab with me about? And I really started to sit down and think about the benefit of us, because there's a lot of direct correlations of having financial wealth that essentially when we are low income, we live in poverty, we live in projects, we live in the ghettos, that's a lot of anxiety, that's a lot of depression that weighs on our soul. And we don't have the mental health to even get us to a healthy state in order to go out and to create a business or to either attain even a job, have a steady job. I thought about another brother that I saw that he also had a similar path like you. He came out of prison. Nobody would hire him. So he went on Craigslist and bought a hot dog stand for $300. Now he's making $400 a day selling hot dogs. So yeah. I believe your story is very, very powerful, and it can give people an opportunity and really diminishes and erases all of the excuses that someone can make, saying that, oh, because I went to prison, this is the reason why I'm not doing well. Can you speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So you had talked about environmental triggers in the clinical world. That's what you had kind of touched on as far as like the mental health and the financial instability in our communities and lower income communities. But yeah, it's kind of hard because I get this kickback. I get this, oh, well, you're an anomaly. You did that. That doesn't mean everybody can do it. But, I feel very strongly, and this could be a trigger warning, and I may offend some people, but listen, if you are not having a mental disability, a developmental disability, a functioning, a physical disability, I do believe that we can find some success in this Western culture, in our society. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to accomplish, it's just hard for me to believe that you can't do it because of environmental barriers, because of the system is built up against us. And so that is something else that I speak about in our book, in the book Minor to Major, Turning Minor Setbacks into Major Comebacks. Despite the disadvantage that the barriers that we face, we can see success. It's a matter of your want to.
I mean, I love that narrative, minor setbacks to major comebacks. And I think that a lot of times we think that our setbacks are major and that if we try to come back, they would be minor. And you really flip the narrative on that. That's absolutely phenomenal. There was another thing you said about, and you didn't mention it directly, but you kind of touched around basically living in a system of white supremacy, how there's still opportunities and there's no room for excuse because you're not an anomaly. You're saying that pretty much if you have the mental capacity, you can achieve what you want to achieve.
Whatever you want to achieve. And we all need mentors. So if I enter into a realm where I'm just not familiar, this is not something that I'm familiar with, you seek out mentors. Someone who has done it before you, has created this business, a hair salon. That's what you want to do. You find a mentor. That mentor will teach you the game as far as the books and how to get started, how to get this loan, whatever it is, her connect over in China, whatever it is, you seek out a mentor to get you that much closer to your goal. And so those are the things that we are missing. We're missing those little life hacks and those tricks on how to accomplish our goals. And so that's why, I'm a huge fan of your channel, man, because, you teach us these little things to get us ahead. And so, I advocate for you, man, and I post you up on my social media ever since I started following you and watching your videos.
I appreciate that, brother. I mean, I understand that how financial literacy is in direct correlation of mental health because you know, people in your profession, they don't come cheap. They don't come cheap at all, but I understand that the toll that people in your profession actually take on. You actually take on a lot of demons. You actually take on a lot of negative energy that, you know, young boys like yourself, you kind of trying to stop that school to prison pipeline that this system has essentially created for us. They demonize our young children in school, and the next thing you know, right out of school, they go right to prison, similar to your story. And you have made it your mission. You made it your mission and also part of your vision to stop that pipeline to mass incarceration of our young men and women going to jail.
That's right.
I mean, your story is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I appreciate that. That's one of many of my passions because, you know, whenever I started getting into my niche, which is this population, 13, 17, 18-year-old kids, young boys, I noticed that the parents, the mothers, the single parent moms, because that is one of our cultural identifiers in our Black community, unfortunately, is single parent moms raising our children. And so I learned that while serving these parents, these moms, their mental health is depleting as well. And the household, it starts with the leadership in the home. And so now I've kind of pivoted to start creating an e-course and a platform to where these parents can get the tools and strategies and techniques they need to raise young men, because unfortunately, they're doing a lot of this work by themselves.
How, you know, you mentioned something very powerful as well. You said that the mothers are affected too. We already know that the kids are going through it, but what are some of the things that the parents are actually experiencing, especially single mothers and single dads?
Man, I can speak to my own personal story, and I won't go too deep into it, but you know, my biological mom. So I told you I was raised with my mom and my biological father, and they raised me together. And you know, when I went to prison, my mom went through, you know, she went through some depression, you know, and it questions, where did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? I gave him everything. I gave him all these opportunities, start questioning their parenting. It's my fault. And so there's that cognitive dissonance there. And yeah, it just bears down on the parents. I see moms all the time saying, I give him this, I do this, and he doesn't understand the sacrifices that I make. And so I see their mental health, their frustration, their stress. I see it, and it's taking a toll on them. So, you know, now it's about treating the whole family whenever we're working with these youth.
So currently you work out of Houston, Texas, correct?
Yeah. So licensed to
What
practice.
part of Houston are you located in?
Greens Point. So it's the north side, but you know, I can practice here in the state of Texas. Just be
all the state of Texas?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you also, I mean, we're going to make sure we share your social media to everyone, because I'm pretty sure you can do video teleconference as well. And I know there were some questions that you actually had for me, so I'm going ahead and switch it over to you, brother.
Yeah, man. So a lot of things that I had, you know, on the agenda, you talk about these things on your platform, but just please, if you wouldn't mind, just sharing tidbits on, you know, if someone would like to start a business, whether it's small, big, can you give us some strategies, some techniques on how we can scale up that business?
So essentially, most people try to get into business or businesses that they actually feel good about, or businesses they actually want to do. Now, for me, I try to get into businesses that I'm passionate about. And so a lot of times, if you try to get into a business that you are essentially just trying to make money, more people are going to burnt out because you're not passionate about it. Like you're passionate about the profession you have chosen. So that's the very first thing. Pick something that is going to wake you up every day and make you grind. Okay. Now, before you even get to that step, I would tell most people, most business don't cost no more than $5,000 to start. Most businesses, I'm not saying all business. Some businesses you need more skin in the game, more capital, but most business you don't need no more than $5,000, because whether you're offering a service or a product, that's a great startup amount. So I would definitely say get your finances in order, simultaneously, you know, build on your credit. And these are the ways that you can set your platform, your foundation. So when you get to a certain mark where you seem like you are paralyzed, you seem that you can't go forward, by you working on your finances as you're starting your business, then you can start to reach out and get business loans. So when it comes to what type of business, I try not to direct people. I try to tell people, go with your passion, go with something you love, go with something that you really have a good drive about, and then figure out the most successful, and you said this prior, where are the successful people doing in your industry, and mimic and mirror and follow their footsteps until essentially you find your own road to success. A lot of people go out, they don't do the research. They don't, oh, I need an EIN number. What's that? It's like a social security number for your business. Right. They don't know how to get licensed. They don't know how to register with their state. These are all things that when you're trying to create and start a business, you must do the research. Are there videos to show you and tell you how to do so? Yes and no, but you still have to do the work yourself. And so a lot of times we feel as though that things should just be given to us. And that's where, brothers like yourself come in and we say, hey, you have to put in the work. Mm-hmm. You have to put in the grind. So a lot of us think, hey, I'm gonna start a business. I'm just gonna start selling remotes. I'm just gonna start selling juicies. And so you would do all the work, but you're not building the foundation in order to get to that mark where you say, you know what, I need more products, I need more materials. So I need to now go out and get a business loan so I can level and scale up. So those are the most important things when you're talking about starting a business, is understanding the very intricate parts of all the things you need to register, you need to license, that you need to put in place. And another thing that people really don't account for is all the different financial statements in order for you to track either the amount of money that you're putting inside your business. That's one. Two, that you're essentially not bringing forth enough money to cover your expenses inside the business. Because more people do this. They're working for someone and they're tired of working for someone, so they quit their job because maybe they made an extra $1 or $2 because they started a business on the side. I tell people, do not quit your regular job until the business that you have is making at least the same amount of money for at least 3 months steadily. So you can have some sort of analytical tool to say, okay, for the past 3 to 4 months, I've been making the same amount of money that I've been making at my current job. Now, for me, I would probably want to times 2 that, meaning that, take for instance, I'm bringing in $50,000 a year based upon a 3 or 4 month estimation. Okay. If I can get to 75,000, then I would definitely probably quit my job so I can focus more on growing my business.
Okay. How can, you talked about a business loan. How can we either build our business credit, or how can we get a business loan without using our personal credit? How do we navigate that?
So of course your business credit score and your personal credit score is slightly different. Okay. But they are connected in a sense. So I always tell people, if you fix your personal credit, you will have a well-established business credit. And the one thing that more times than not that people don't understand is when you go out and you sign up for a credit card, you want a mortgage, you want a car, all those are inquiries and essentially decreases your credit score. So you try to minimize that as much as possible. And me on my channel, I offer free credit letters, which essentially challenges the credit agencies of the inquiries and delinquent accounts. Now, the great thing about these letters is that according to the FCRA 609 and 611, it states that an organization, a business, or a lender who does not have your written signature, they must delete that account from your credit report. So myself, my friends, even my fiance, we have raised our credit score tremendously. I went from, when I started on this journey about 3-4 years ago, when it comes to starting my YouTube channel and teaching people, at that time, I had maybe around a 690. I'm sitting here today with an 810 credit score. And the only thing I did was, I paired up with a lawyer. We went inside the regulations and regs, and we did a 4 series of letters. And I put together a package. Some people have similar things on YouTube and other financial institutions, and they charge you anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 for you to go out and do the work. See, I offer the package totally free. The only thing I tell people more like is, hey, get this video a thumbs up. That's all I really tell people. And I give them that information. And believe me, that will help you raise your credit score more than you can ever think. And I give step-by-step instructions.
Okay, man, that's awesome. That's good. So I was looking at the time because I want to mark that so I can kind of pinpoint that to some of the viewers that I have. I'm going to switch it a little bit. I'm going to change the dynamic a little bit. I want you to tell me, what do you think about reparations? What do you think about, because that's kind of a discussion, a topic that is being thrown out there, and there's talks up there in our government. And so do you think that Black people, Black Americans, we deserve reparations? What does that look like?
So do we deserve reparations? 1,000,000% we do. And the argument that I like to bring to the table is the compare and contrast of Native Americans. Now, first and foremost, I have no strife against Native Americans. They're getting what they are owed. The European murderers, settlers, they came over here and they essentially almost made all Native American tribes extinct, okay, by either some sort of disease or virus or by straight war or murder. Now, we won't get into the intricate details of how some Native American tribes actually teamed up with those white supremacists to hunt down and track Black people. I won't get into that, but what I will say is that a lot of them have been exterminated in order to obtain their land. So from that point on, there's been a lot of things that occurred in the Native American community that has landed them generational wealth by the way of the federal government. They get funded $2 billion by the federal government each and every year. I mean, by this year alone, Joe Biden is going to sign a $31 billion spending budget for the Native American community. So he's going to up that. So right now they're going to get $31 billion. Why is this so important to reparations? Because Native Americans didn't go through slavery, okay? Yes, they got exterminated, so did we. There's a lot of atrocities that when you hear people talking to you, especially people that are a different shade, a different color, and sometimes brothers and sisters that look like you, either they're foundational Black Americans or they're from another country. The problem is they don't understand the history of America. And nobody never brings up the compare and contrast of Native Americans. Their land was stolen. So America set out and gave them their own land. See, each Native American reservation is sovereign land. They govern themselves. They don't pay taxes, but the tax money that you pay out of the earnings that you make fund everything on the reservations. I mean, their school buses, some of their stores, and they don't pay taxes on anything. See, that is sovereign land. They're a nation of their own right here in these United States. So when Black people, when foundational Black Americans talking about reparations and the many forms of reparations that they can give us, Native Americans are already getting it. And that's the issue, that we keep trying to fight a system that has already given a group of people for the past 100+ years reparations. And some people, even Black people, have told me, well, you wasn't in slavery and those people are dead and gone. I said, brother, what about Native Americans? And everybody shut the hell up, because they don't understand the connection is that these are the descendants of Native Americans that went through those atrocities, who essentially these are diseases and viruses have been killed off. They don't understand it. These are their descendants. We are the descendants of our enslaved African ancestors who did the work, who built Europe, who built Africa, who built North America. So there's a lot of money that we are owed. Now, I'm hearing a lot of people who are woke, who awake, or who's pro-Black or conscious, whatever term you want to use, are bringing up the narrative of giving us low interest loan or zero interest loan. They don't give Native Americans zero interest loans. They give them grants. They give them funding. So I'm asking for the same reparations that Native Americans get. That's what I'm asking. So when people say what that looks like, increase resources for funding for Medicare, okay? And that doesn't include the vaccine. Everybody's getting the vaccine, right? So when we do a compare and contrast of the benign neglect that the American system consistently, time and time again, just give the Black people every single day, and we accept it, we're not understanding that there's a group of people who essentially went to some similarities of the pain and agony of our ancestors that their ancestors are benefit from today. And I get all sort of deflection arguments about, well, the Native American community are in shambles because they have what's the word term? Alcoholic rates. But I'm saying, hey, listen, I don't care about that. I care about the money that's being given to them each and every year that we are owed reparations as well. But it's something about this melanin. There's something about these African features that they just hate, and they're not willing to do what is owed to us.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's so funny, man. We didn't talk offline about this in detail at all, but that's exactly how I feel. When they talk, you know, when I hear other Black people talk about, man, reparations, 40 acres and a mule, or they ought to give us 20,000 or 30. When I think about the discussion, the conversations to start with Congress, with our government, the conversation should begin with the same reparations that Native Americans get. And I think that's funny that you feel that way and I feel that way, and we have never had that discussion. And so
I just think that people don't see the similarities, right? You know, when we think of a Native Americans, most people, they don't even, bring Native Americans into the conversation at all. And again, I always have to point out, this has nothing to do with their struggles, but I'm comparing it because you're giving groups of people billions of dollars each and every year, and they didn't go through a third of the pain and agony of our ancestors. But here we are today, 2021, still asking a white supremacist government to give us what you owe to us of what our forefathers have already put in the work. So the most famous clip that Kamala Harris put out right before the inauguration was, anything that we do for Black Americans, we're going to do for the rest of America. That was one of the things that blew up, because she said, we're not going to just do nothing for Black people. What we do for Black people will benefit the rest of America. But when you go and you look and you see what's on the books today, this was in May 21st, I think Thursday, Joe Biden signed a Stop Asian Hate bill that gives Asian Americans protections under the law. So when you think about the issue, infuriate every Black person in America. I mean, especially in America. But I am seeing these puppets. I am seeing these Democratic shields out there defending their white zaddies about this is why the Asian and Pacific Islanders got this protection law. Okay, listen, if you want to give them protection law, I'm not against that. Once again, Black people have been killed in the street, either by police brutality or race soldiers, people who are part of the white supremacy systems, and their goons out there killing us for the most obscene reasons known to man. But we can't get federal protections under the law. 1 year, Asian Americans, because of COVID-19 coming from Wuhan, China, are now essentially, which I still believe that a lot of these things that you're seeing Black people, and that, that's the targets that they're putting out there, that Black people are essentially attacking Asians, which is all of a sudden we just start attacking Asian people. I won't get into that narrative, but the point I'm making is, for the last 260, since 1526, when slavery first started in America, and most people believe in 1619, but if you follow, Foundation of Black Americans, you understand the term 1526. But even if you go by 1619, then you understand that slavery and torture and rape and dismemberment and all these other atrocities that happened to our ancestors, and we still don't have a federal protection under law like the Asian Americans.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll umbrella that under the hate crime.
Definitely.
We have talked about, the Native American community and the Asian Pacific Islander community. We, no shade towards them. I don't think.
No, not at all.
Yeah, Ross or myself have feel a type of way towards them, but we're just using them as an example to kind of hone down on our point of view. So let me ask you.
Can I just point one more thing out? I won't be long, I promise.
Come on.
It amazes me how the Asian Americans, okay, and not so much Pacific Islanders, but the Asian Americans, and I'm gonna call it the way I see it. We either be Koreans, Japanese, and Chinese, Vietnamese. These are the most people who have some sort of Asian business in Black communities, whether it be nail shops, hair shops, food restaurants, a trinket store, etc. It amazes me how our Black women, our beautiful Black sisters, go inside of these shops and violence. They're getting hit and kicked by Asian men and women and jump while other Black women are sitting there still getting their hair done, still getting their nails done. First and foremost, those sisters didn't get protection under the federal law. That's the first thing. Then the second law is, for some of my sisters, I'm very disappointed that they're still supporting some of these very racist Asian nail shops and restaurants and things of that nature. But the first thing, see, that's the thing. Sometimes when you can't get protections and laws passed for you under a racist white supremacy system, then you have to start having some self-dignity and self-respect. And why would you go patronize businesses that are treating you like crap, that are beating up our beautiful Black sisters? See, those things I just don't understand. It actually infuriates me that we continue to support a group of people who undermines us and act like we are attacking them. They're like, yeah, Black Americans are doing this. What?
Yeah, and in Houston, Texas, we have an organization called ANPU, All Neighborhoods Powerfully United. And they said, the Asian corner store, liquor stores, wig stores, whatever, you come into the community, you come into the neighborhoods, you can stay, but you have to hire Black employees. We understand this is a money market. You want to get your money, understand you're going to hire us or you're going to get out of our neighborhoods. You're going to get out of our communities. And so
I actually did a video where I said, do not buy where you're not hired. And that was mainly directed at the Asian community. No, not now. Let's just get this straight for the record straight. I'm not speaking about every Asian person, because we know how people love to take things out of context. I am talking about for those who are in support of the system of white supremacy in this country. See, and here's the thing. The reason why I feel free to speak about these issues, because I've actually lived in Korea for 4 years. I lived in Japan for 1.5 years. I've been to Thailand. I've been to Cambodia. I've been to a lot of Asian countries. And believe it or not, the only country that I truly felt comfortable in my own skin was the Philippines.
Really?
That's the only, truly, that is one of the only countries that I felt comfortable in my own skin. First was the Philippines. Second was Thailand. But when it came to Korea, not every Korean person in Korea is racist, but there are a lot of them. The same thing for Japanese. The same things for Chinese, okay? Now, out of those 3 top countries, Korea, Japan, and China, the most racist Asian country from my perspective was China.
Yeah, I haven't visited any of those Asian countries at all. I'm going to switch it once again. I want to ask you, for someone in a lower income, minority community, let's say they get a stimulus check, let's say they get income tax return, they get a $5,000 lump sum, maybe more. What is something that you recommend they do with that money to create wealth? Starting off small, but building that money. What is something you can give us?
So I definitely changed my mindset on this. I changed it right before we had our pre-discussion, before we came live. And what I first thought was, they can take that money, apply that, money inside the stock market, whether it be individual stocks, cryptocurrencies, ETF, exchange traded funds, or index funds. But my mindset is this: if you're in a low income area and the only thing that you have is a GED or a high school diploma, and you don't have a license, you don't have a certification, you don't have a degree, that is where I would essentially invest my money. I would invest my money in me. I wouldn't even necessarily put in the stock market, because a lot of us think, because the information I give, a lot of people say, hey, Ross, if I got $500, if I have $1,000, where do I put my money? And I'll give people some sort of education about, these are some of the places where I would put my money. That doesn't mean that next day, next month, next year, you're going to be a millionaire or you're going to be 100,000 there. It doesn't mean that. It means that the information I give is based upon my research, and my analytics. But the number one way that you can take that stimulus check, you can take your unemployment check, you can take your tax return, is invest in yourself and either get a license like my brother Jere'MY or get a certification. There's so many industries that are lacking certified personnel. One field is IT. Now, the problem with IT that I know, a lot of my Black brothers and sisters, we don't like math. We don't like, and IT is essentially math, but that's where the money is. Okay, so that would be my first. Anything dealing with STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, that is where the money. That is where you should put your tax return, your stimulus check. Go and get yourself a certification in A++, C++, Cisco systems, etc. Learn Raspberry, learn Linux. All these different certifications you can get in the IT field. Then if that's not your sort of thing, then I say, well, get a license or certification and become an ASC certified mechanic. Or you can become a nurse. Okay, a nurse is just a 2-year associate degree. That $5,000 could possibly pay for that certifications or license. Then you have plumbing, electrician, you have the wind turbine. So there's so many things that you can use your unemployment check, your stimulus check, your tax return to level up yourself. If you're just thinking that you're going to put your money to a savings account and then a couple of years later, voila, you're going to be a millionaire or you're going to be well off, you're absolutely wrong. Okay. Inflation alone will kill your savings. Okay. So even with investing, I would say the same thing. If you're not obtaining skills, and with those skills, you will start gaining experience, you will not be able to level up. Okay. There's very, very, very few people who are working at Burger King and investing $50 a month into the stock market, and then 5 or 10 years they're rich. Name me one. So essentially, you need the education, and that goes by the way of a license, certification, or degree.
Yeah. So I think we talked offline about having a skill, and if you can develop a skill, go get a skill, get a certification, you can use that to leverage, create a platform to where you become a professional, the expert in that specific niche, whether it's plumbing, you work on sinks, you work very specific on a niche, and now you are that guy or that girl for that specific issue. And so that's how I talk about creating wealth in that regard. So I like that. Invest in yourself first. That's good.
Yeah. Someone is bringing up a good topic here. Citizen M says, I just joined. I don't know if this has been discussed, but based on a topic question, I had my kids having delay in talking. She is 4 years old. How to help her out with development? Is that your sector, brother?
Yeah. So it's I can speak on it. That's not something I kind of specialize in. So youth 12 and under, but it sounds like either it could be a developmental delay or a speech pathologist. A speech by pathologist may be the resource that you're looking for. So there's several different angles here. Are there other developmental cues that maybe she's not potty trained at 4 years old? There's got to be more to the symptomology than for a mental health diagnosis. So it could just be a speech by pathologist, and insurance typically pays for that if you have it, especially Medicaid, Medicare.
Now, do you provide services on this very thing that Citizen M is talking about?
No. So kids under the age of 12, I don't provide services to. I have a select few. So IDD, I can't even say the word, but IDD, developmental disorders, intellectual developmental disorders, big words.
So basically, children children above 12 years of age, you mostly deal with.
Correct. And if they reach the diagnosis of IDD, I refer out. It's different. It's different treatment.
So I'm just going to show you. We're going to show your website very quickly about the mentorship that you actually serve with mentoring for males who struggle with mood and behavior issues, delinquency, truancy, anger outbursts, theft, ADHD related symptoms. And you also give life skills training as well as consultations. Mm-hmm. So again, this is Jere'MY Rainkins. He is a licensed professional counselor His website is minortomajortx.com. That is minortomajortx.com. So go ahead, brother. I know you had some more questions.
I do. So, I know we're getting at the top of the hour. I wanted to ask you, and this is probably very subjective. Can money buy you happiness? I would like the listeners, anybody who is in the chat, to also answer that question. What do y'all think?
Yeah.
I want to hear your views. What do you think? Can money buy you happiness?
Oh man, that's a very difficult question, and I know that everybody will answer this differently. So I'm gonna play Angel's advocate. Okay, I'm gonna play Angel's advocate. I'm going to say that money can and cannot buy you happiness.
Oh man.
And what I mean is what you value the most, right? So me, being from Washington, D.C., mother dying at 12, in and out of group homes my entire life, having enough financial stability to have my own has aided in my happiness, that I can go out and buy whatever the hell I want. That is a feeling of freedom, and it does make me happy in a sense. But anybody will tell you on a spiritual and soulful level that true happiness comes from within, and that is defined by different people. Like I meditate 5 minutes a day. I'm not a monk, so I don't do 12 hours a day, 12 hours a day. So that's essentially my answer, because I do find happiness that I'm not worried about gas money. There was a time where I grew up in Southeast DC where my family members were worrying about gas money. They were worrying about enough money to go buy eggs. That doesn't bring you happy. If anything, that leads back into your field of psychological depression. Like, they're depressed because they don't have the financial means in order for the most basic survival in our society today. So yeah, money can make me happy in certain situations, but truly defining who I am has nothing to do with the money I obtain. That's something on a life journey, a life path, that you must find your own. You must find your own beacon to lead you. You must find something that's going to essentially break you out of the conundrum of you going through a dark tunnel now seeing the light. But I will say that money does assist in my happiness.
That's good. I'll accept.
Okay.
So I think that money, I give the example. So the short answer, yes. Just to answer but I'd have to dig in. So my example is, if I love fishing, I love salt water, fresh water. I love fishing. You buy me a big boat, I'm gonna be happy, right? I'm be happy. So, but money can buy happiness, buy things, provide happiness, but it doesn't solve all problems. So there's two different things there. So I do believe that you can be happy with money to be able to afford to buy certain things that make you happy, but it doesn't solve all your problems.
Truly, I agree.
Man, I thank you for your time, man. This was great. This was good, man. We could talk forever and go on and on. I can pick your brain. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I thank you so much.
Likewise, brother. I had a good time. I'm sorry that it's ended, but I know we're hitting an hour here, and anytime somebody see an hour, they're like,
yeah.
They're like, I'm getting good information, but it's so long. Hold on. Yeah. The Lakers are coming on, man. All right, man. This is Financial Literacy 101. This is the interview with Jere'MY Rainkins, and very quickly, I want to show you guys his website. The name of his website is called Minor to Major LLC, Minor to Major LLC. And his website is called minortomajortx.com. It gives you everything about this young brother and what he's doing for the community. He is a licensed professional counselor. He deals with stopping the school to prison pipeline for our young men ages 12 and up. So please check this brother out. Again, his website is Minor to Major. Here's his Instagram. If you guys not familiar with his Instagram page, it's also Minor to Major. That's Minor to Major TX. That's Minor to Major TX. He also has short stories. He also is a public author, okay? And the name of his book is also called minor to major as well. So if you guys are just tuning in, please rewind this video. There's a lot of great information that this brother is giving out, and all the financial issues that essentially are systemic in our communities, and how that is the direct correlation of a lot of mental issues that we have, and especially our children. Is there anything else you want to go ahead and give your other social media platforms, brother?
No, this is Jere'MY with Minor to Major, where I help people turn their minor setbacks into major comebacks. And, you know, I'm not in it just for the money. So if anybody emails me or hits me up on Instagram, those are the two best ways to get a hold of me. You want to jump on a call and have a consultation. I just got off a 30-minute consultation. I have no problem with that. If you're outside of the state of Texas, I'm here to help. I want to help level our community up. And so if you have any issues that you have questions about, email me or hit me up on IG. We can jump on a call.
All right, guys, that's it. You guys have a great and wonderful day. Learn money and be inspired. Talk to you guys on the next one.